Pretty sure it is, Jenna. Okay, joining us now is our 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, Jimmie Johnson. He drives the number 48 Cobalt Tools Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmie, talk about your outlook coming to Bristol Motor Speedway. Talk about going out there trying to get your initial win of the season.
I just want to survive this place.
Yeah.
And we did get our win in 2010, and we've been able to run consistently in the top 5. And that's truthfully our goal. I mean, this track really is difficult on me and Chad and the team through practice, qualifying, and then in the race we seem to find our way, and a lot of that falls on my shoulders. You know, I feel like this track, for me, it just takes the repetition of laps to find a rhythm and to find the half a tenth or so that I need to really be in the game. So we'll try to keep aggravation and frustration to a minimum today, tomorrow, and then whenever we race, I know that we'll be able to get out there and run well.
Questions, we'll start with Mike Massaro, we'll go to Brant James, and then we'll go to David Caravello.
Jimmie, Dale Jr. was in here moments ago, and he was asked about carrying the weight and the pressure of elevating the popularity of the sport and the impact of his good run so far here this season and what that's had on the sport. He said that he felt uncomfortable being asked that question because of people like yourself. He mentioned you specifically, saying that you've done so much for the sport that he feels uncomfortable that people think that he's the guy that's going to carry the popularity of the sport. I wanted to get your thoughts on that and what impact you do feel he has had on the sport getting off to such a great start.
Well, I think our sport is, you know, it takes everyone involved, all the personalities involved, all the drivers on the track, TV personalities, the support of the television network partners, print media, you know, everything across the board to make our sport what it is. And there's no doubt that Junior can move the needle. And, you know, I'm happy to see his success right now. And it doesn't, I think one of the effects of it, and a positive effect of him running well, is the interest it brings in the sport. And, you know, we can kind of speculate the type of fan base that he has, and maybe fans of his father that some say have left our sport because of the change, and when he does well, their interest comes back in. You know, is it the younger kids? I don't know where the interest comes from, but it's a great byproduct of him running well. But it's too much pressure to put on one person, and just as unfair as it is for people to say that I have hurt the sport with my success, I think it's a little unfair to put that all on him, that the sport depends on his success. The sport's bigger than him, it's bigger than me, it's bigger than any one person. It takes all of us to make it what it is. But I'm very proud of where he is, and I have seen the hard work that he has put in and Steve has put in, and I pay more attention to, you know, my teammate running well than the other effects that take place out there.
Brant James, right here. David Caravello, Nate Ryan.
Brant James, ESPN.com. You've won races all your full-time years. Sometimes it's really early, sometimes it's a little later. So there's the assumption you're going to get multiple races in there somewhere. But each week there's sort of a parade thrown when a guy supposedly punches his ticket. Does that add any anxiety at all when, you know, you're not in that group officially yet, or, you know, does it add anything to it mentally?
No, I haven't put much thought into it. And the main reason is 16 transfer, and it's pretty rare that we have 16 different winners in the course of a season. So points still have a pretty big impact on where you're at, and I'm happy that we're third in points. I feel like Vegas, we had a shot to win. Midway through the race, the balance of the car changed, and we found something wrong with the car that was pretty rare and unique for us. So we know where our speed went, and I feel like there's, you know, the 500 we had a shot to win. So we've had 2 chances to win, and, you know, have netted a bunch of top, I guess, 6 finishes. But there's nothing to be concerned about yet. And, you know, 1, because the year is early, and 2, I feel like at least 1 or 2 positions will go in via points.
Go to David Caravello, and then to Nate Ryan.
Jimmie, were you happy to see the qualifying changes announced earlier this week, and do you expect today's session to look markedly different than it has the last few weeks?
Yeah, for sure. And we've had 2 very forgiving racetracks with generous aprons to cool down on, and we still had, you know, some close calls. So here you can't get on the apron to get out of the way, and I guess you can, but it's a lot more difficult. So I'm very happy with the changes, and we'll see. I think we'll see a much more clean and fair opportunity to get your fast laps in.
Were you guys really worried about what it might look like here today if changes had not been made?
Yeah, it would have been total chaos. I mean, there is some level of excitement in it, for sure, and there's certainly storylines following qualifying that isn't a bad thing for the sport. Sometimes bad press is good press. Any press is good press, that whole mentality, but there needs to be a bit of order, and this should bring a lot of order.
Okay, let's go to Nate Ryan, front row here, and then to Dustin.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Jimmy, last year when Casey was chasing Matt for the win, he was asked afterward, why didn't you knock him out of the way? And I think his answer was like, well, I didn't know how. I wouldn't know how to do that. I think part of that was because that's not how he races, but also part of it was with the preferred line now being the high line next to the wall. It's different from when it used to be around the bottom. You just bump and run and knock a guy up the track, and you could scoot right by. If you're coming down to a win here and you're looking to move a slower car that's running in front of you on the high line, how do you do it? Is it the same strategy, or does the bump and run not work anymore because there's not as much clearance and everything, all the factors involved there?
Yeah, it definitely is a different bump and run factor. And if it's a lap down car, somebody you're not racing for position, a little tap on the straightaway usually wakes up whoever's in front of you, and they'll cut you some slack. But if it's for position, I would anticipate anybody to pull down and get out of the way. So you're just going to have to go to work the hard way and try to get by. And some drivers have grown up in stock cars and in environments where you use the bumper to move someone, and it's second nature. It's not the environment I came out of, and I think the same for Casey. If you go through his background and the types of cars he raced, you don't bump, you don't touch. I have found personally that it takes me longer to set up a bump and run instead of a wrecked car. It's a delicate touch to get in there and to move somebody in the right way. That I waste more time doing that than it does to get inside of them to try to pass them. So that might also lead to kind of the conversation about Casey's closing laps last year, and if that happens again, there's some guys that are comfortable and used to it, and I mean, if I have to, I will, but I'm probably going to be saying I'm sorry after. It'll be in that category of Earnhardt trying to rattle Terry's cage, and Terry's car was all tore up.
Yeah. Is there more risk for the guy trying to do it when the guy you're trying to bump is next to the wall, because there's not as much, like, if you're on the bottom, he just slides up, but if he's up here, he slides up, hits the wall, and can come back down and get in your path or whatever?
Yeah, definitely get in your path, and then the wall will catch him, and I'm pretty sure they'll be able to get back to you in one. Bump and run works nice when you can get somebody, they slip and slide, and they're 4 or 5 car lengths behind you in the next turn, because it's coming back. And being so close to one another, and then the proximity to the wall, a bump and run, you might complete the pass to start with, but you're probably going to get it back sooner than you'd want.
We're here to the right, Dustin, and then we'll take one more, and then we have a little special announcement that Jimmy has. Dustin.
Dustin Long, MRN.com. You've been in the sport long enough. As you look back over the time that you've been in the series, are drivers more willing to hit each other nowadays than before? Or when you look back over the 10-plus years, how do you see how that's transitioned to where it is now?
It's tough to say. I mean, you race people how you're raced, and vice versa. So there's usually not a lot of contact between myself and other cars, and it's been that way since I've entered the sport. I feel like there might be less casual contact, but we see more heated moments when something does happen. So I think there's far less bump and runs, and there's more aggravation and frustration, and something big happens, and then we've got a wrestling match on pit road after.
And Dale Jr. mentioned a driver, Jason Keller, as one that one time got him. He always wanted to get back and never got the opportunity. So is there somebody who's no longer in the sport that got you that you never got the opportunity to get them?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind, and I actually tried, was with Matt Kenseth. I was running, I guess it was one of my full years in Nationwide, and he'd crashed me 2 or 3 times. And he had a bad pit stop in Dover and came out deep in the field, and I'm running 8th to 10th or something. and he wrecked me in 1 and 2, and I was sitting on the apron waiting for him to come back around, and I had the car in gear ready to dump the clutch to harpoon him. And when I dumped the clutch to take off, the fuel cell was on the ground and my rear tires were up off the ground, and I couldn't go anywhere, so I was all over the rev chip going nowhere. And I've teased him about it since, and I think you've mentioned it in the media once, and Matt does not remember that thing, but I do. But we're well past that now, so there's no revenge there, but it's fun to harass him about it.
Okay, at this time, I believe Jimmy has a special announcement. Jimmy, if you want to take it away, I believe you want to call up Mike Wells.
Absolutely. To start, I'd like to introduce and bring up Mike Wells. He's the president and CEO of Wells Enterprises, and they're the makers of Blue Bunny ice cream. So as you can see, we have our, first of all, hello, Mike. Thank you for being up here.
Hey, Jimmy.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Try to be an interviewer.
Yeah.
But we're excited, as all of you know, the Jimmie Johnson Helmet of Hope has been a very successful program, and Blue Bunny has been on for a few years and sponsoring and supporting the Jimmie Johnson Foundation, and we're very excited today to announce the 2014 Blue Bunny Helmet of Hope.
So we are extremely happy to partner once again with Jimmy and Shani and the foundation in being the presenting sponsor of the Blue Bunny Helmet of Hope. My family's 100-year-old business, Wells Enterprises, has built its business now for these 100 years under the principles of being able to do the right thing right and to give back. And the Helmet of Hope and partnering with the foundation gives us the perfect opportunity to do that. And Jimmy, as you and I have talked, the fact that the foundation is so focused on families and kids, it is just a perfect fit for Blue Bunny and for ice cream.
Ice cream's a good fit all the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's not just for breakfast anymore.
Right. This year we do have a few changes. What we're going to do is we're going to accept all of the grants, and at that point in time we're going to have 10 that will have a chance at a $25,000 grant. From there will be a vote that will take place through our websites, through the Helmet of Hope website and through the jimmiejohnson.com website. And we'll get down to basically 5 schools that are eligible. They will be nonprofit schools that support 5 through K public education, and nominations will be accepted at helmetofhope.org from now through April 4th. The 10 semifinalists will be selected from the nominations. The public will decide who receives the 5 available grants for $25,000. At that point, we'll obviously use all the great social media channels and traditional media channels to talk about the 5 semifinalists, and the fans and consumers can vote from April 17th through April 24th. And the 5 grant recipients, easy for me to say, to start the voting process, we will announce that on May 2nd. So a very good program, and thank you once again, Mike, for your support. And if there are any questions about the Helmet of Hope, I may have lost some of you. I think I lost myself in this process up here. Please check out our websites for more specific detail. What's that?
No more random helmet draw?
No.
Random draws for qualifying.
But yeah, for qualifying. But the cool thing is 5 schools are going to really get a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, I'd just like to say we really appreciate the changes that you and Shani made this year. Fewer grants, but more substantial, and really an opportunity to really make a difference in K through 12 education, which we think is really important, especially in these times. So thanks for your willingness to switch this thing up and continue to make it better.
Thank you.
It's K through 12, but you said K through 5.
Sorry?
Do I know more about your foundation than you do?
There's no telling. K through 12 for sure. Nonprofit 501c3 programs that support K through 12 public education are eligible to be nominated.
There's a website you can go to that'll tell you all about that.
You know me well enough. Don't hold me to everything I say.
And you might have mentioned this already, Jimmy. Forgive me if you did, but when will this start up?
Go to the website, jimmiejohnsonfoundation.com, or .org actually.
Today?
It starts today,
Nominations
as of right
start
now.
today. Okay, perfect.
Right now.
April 4th.
Okay. Nominations
I was
start
just
today.
testing you, Carrie, to see if you paid attention to
And
my...
and then we'll be announcing them at some point on a weekly basis when you do your meeting.
It has changed. Let's all go to the website. Can you pull it up, Shannon?
Let's go to the website. That's a great looking helmet. And question over here, Kenny Bruce has a question about it. We appreciate it.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For Mike, Jimmie's foundation is very education-based. I mean, how does that play into the role of Wells Enterprises and Blue Bunny? I mean, is education a big push for you guys? Or?
You know, education's a big push in that ice cream is something that families enjoy, and when you think about families and kids and the opportunity to really support things that are important to families, we also know that ice cream is in the middle of a lot of everyday moments, and so the opportunity to partner up to make education more important on a go-forward basis, as well as to be able to reward families in that through the enjoyment of what we believe to be exceptional ice cream. We think it's just a great partnership and a great fit.
Will there be a Jimmie Johnson flavor?
I don't know. Will there be a Jimmie Johnson flavor?
It's not a bad idea.
48
Yeah.
different flavors.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's really going to be
There you go.
a tough one for you there. So I have my cards back in order. Nominations will be accepted now through April 4th.
Okay.
10 semifinalists will be selected from those nominations. Then fans will vote from April 17th through April 24th after the 5 are selected, and then we will announce on May 2nd. No, I still have that wrong.
No, so you're going to get down to 5.
You're gonna
and
get
the
down to
vote,
5,
the fans
and
are
the
going to vote on
And you'll know on May
You're going to
2nd.
get down to 10, and then the fans are going to vote 5 of those.
Correct. I knew
There
that
you go.
part. The dates really get me confused. I tried again.
This is
sorry.
what happens when we change things up.
I will say this, just on behalf of what we do every week, and you won't find a better group of people working with you than Jimmie and Channy. And they certainly have done a super job and given so much back to the sport. And we appreciate the opportunity that Blue Bunny and that organization gives them to help so many other people. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.